Fantastic. Okay, Jen, welcome. Jen Kim and Rajesh, welcome. So everybody, welcome. Good evening. My name is Manoj Onkar, and we are leading this OD program, Organization Development Program, and this is an introductory masterclass for that. Rajesh, welcome, and if it would be good if you can keep your video on, everybody. And Jen Kim, welcome. It will also be good if you can get your video on. So before we go ahead, just if you can say your name and where are you from, that would be great. And we can just start from there. So Shiva, you are in Bangalore, right?
Yes, I'm in Bangalore. Yeah.
And you and just say one line about yourself.
Okay, so I'm the co-founder and director of a startup, R&D startup by name Bhashini AI Solutions Private Limited, which is into uh, gifting a new ability for visually challenged people to access printed documents in Indian languages through our apps and web applications.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Yash, you want to say something about yourself?
Yeah, my name is YPS Kanwar. Presently, I am with one of the leading institutions in Delhi, management institutes, as the vice president. My past experience comes from the industry, about 30 years in the ONGC and about 8 to 9 years outside ONGC in the private sector and the academia.
Great. Fantastic. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Hey, Jane, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jane, joining from Korea. And
Okay.
nice meeting you. And I'm working as an interculturalist and now running one consulting firm
Okay.
as a intercultural aspects.
Fantastic. And what's the time where you are?
Here, 11 p.m.
Oh, so past your bedtime, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, but you look fresh. It almost looks like you are in the morning.
Yeah. Dew filtering function is really well worked. Makes me pretty, fresh.
Yeah, fantastic. Welcome. Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Yes,
I'm
Seema.
Seema. I am from Bangalore, and I have almost about 35 years of experience in HR and L&D. I have done a bit of OD, but I thought I will revisit it because last almost 3, 4, 5 years I have moved out of HR and I am into project management and other kind of initiatives. So, yeah.
Welcome, Seema.
Thanks.
Okay. Yes, who would like to go next? And Sham and Vandana, you should also introduce yourselves. Okay.
Hi, good evening all. I'm Sham. I'm based in Bangalore. I'm a coach and a consultant on the pathway to being an OD consultant also now. I'm part of the current program and looking forward to having conversation with all of you.
So Sham and Vandana are also participating in our current batch of the OD program, the 6-month program. Yes, Vandana, you want to introduce yourself, also
Sure.
what you do in life beyond this program?
Sure.
So many things, so you can be brief. Yeah.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Currently, I'm heading an HR for a biotech firm. However, over last 2 decades, I have worked with over 300 NGOs across the country and the world. And I'm a developmental sector professional, basically. And I'm very passionately involved with an organization called as Mandeshi. They run the first rural women entrepreneur bank and foundation to work with all the women entrepreneurs in rural India. So that's a brief about me. And we have been associated with the OD program since September, and it's lots of fun. So looking forward to all the interactions and knowing each one of you all. Thank you.
Brilliant. Yeah, Leslie, welcome. We're just doing a round of introduction. My name is Manoj. And whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and introduce yourself. Harish, you want to go next?
I always say psychologists go the last, right? So I'm a clinical psychologist and also a management trainer based
Mm,
in Bangalore, working for the last almost 30 years, and just interested in kind of looking at what exactly this particular thing. Okay, the background to this is every year I look at something new to for myself, right?
ah,
This is one of those avenues I'm trying to see if this works for me.
brilliant.
That's the background to attending this session.
Perfect. Shri,
Good evening, everybody.
good evening.
I'm Shri Manogya. So I am the only junior most one here. So I have just started working last Feb. So currently I am an ACE designer, which is a manufacturing industry. So my senior suggested me to attend this session to have an idea and get what it is. So that's why I'm here.
And where are you based?
I'm presently in Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay, all right. Yeah, you will not be the junior most in the program. We have two kind of participants who have joined with their father, and so they are in the college. So I think you'll be in the same age group or like that. So good.
A little
Thank
bit,
yeah.
But
Great. Welcome,
really
welcome,
looking
Shri.
forward to learn
Yeah,
from
yeah. Welcome. Yeah, and in this field, of course, all of us are junior in a way. This is a new ocean to look at. Thank you. Leslie, you want to go next?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm from Coimbatore and I head the learning and development for an organization. So I wanted to understand more about the organization development space as well. And that's the reason why I'm here.
Brilliant. Fantastic. So everybody, thank you very much. And let's go right into it. And this is interactive, so don't wait for the end of the presentation or anything to ask questions. You can ask anytime, interact anytime. Okay. And so let me just say a little bit about myself and the company. So my name is Manoj Onkar, and I have been into consulting for exactly 30 years. I started in 1994 and just a little bit, couple of months more now. Yeah. And we've been involved with all kinds of organizations, basically organization building. And we realized that a lot of things we assume that everybody must be knowing, actually people don't know. And even senior people, very, very senior people in big organizations also don't know. So then we looked at how do we make it available to more people at the same time. So, and that's how this OD program got created. Otherwise, we were very happy with doing the consulting and the leadership programs. So we operate from India, Thailand, Philippines, and UK. And of course, multiple people in India. And we have been working with more than 30 industries, and people from more than 10 countries have been participating with us. One of our claims to fame would be the work that we did, the OD work that we did with a consulting firm, with a manufacturing firm in Thailand, which was a 60-year-old company, which we helped turn around. And they got awarded as the best managed small and medium enterprise of Thailand. And they got that award from their prime minister. And the interesting part of it is we did it during COVID, online. So the whole 2 years consulting happened online. And I don't speak Thai language, and most of those people don't speak English. So we had some of their senior management team helping us with the translation over and above the professional translation, and still they managed to turn around. So that's the power of OD in a short, right? Once you get the principles, you get to turn around and all the barriers can disappear. And we'll go ahead and talk a lot more about it. I just want to make a personal request. So Vandana, if you can just call Jitin, you can, and he just called me. So if you can see what he needs. Mostly he might need the link, so you can give him the link.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so before we go ahead, if you have any questions or you want to say why you are here, most welcome to say that. And if you have a question, you can start with that. Samay, welcome. Samay Awad, welcome. Anybody you have a burning question they want me to address before we go ahead? Like, oh, why don't we address that? No. Okay, fine. So let's go ahead. Everybody keep your videos on. It's really much more fun interacting with people. So let's look at OD and how is it different from everything else? So how is this a unique part of management consulting? And how is it different from training? How is it different from most of the other things that people know? See, organization development is, firstly, it's very different from people development. Okay, so people development is mostly the way things happen are you're focusing on the individual. And organizations are a different animal, a different structure. So you need to shift, you need to kind of move away from looking at things from a personal development perspective to look at the world of organization development. So how do you start? So the first thing that you look at is time. So we ask the entrepreneurs, what is the lifespan that you're planning for your company? Or we ask the CEOs for the same thing. And many people, especially the small and medium enterprises, would say, we haven't thought of it. And the CEOs will say, oh, I'm here for 5 years. Right? Now, in both the cases, they don't need OD. Right? It's not meant for short-term game. You can do business in 1,000 ways and you can survive. When do you need OD? When you want to build an organization that is going to last a long, long, long time. And it's going to last successfully a long, long, long time. So OD is organization development, right? So when do you want to focus on building the organization? When you have a long-term future and you want to build a long-term future. So very critical part of OD is the time frame. You're building something which is going to not only be successful now, but will remain successful for a long, 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 long time. Most cases, people say beyond their lifetime, like a legacy you want to leave behind. But definitely, most of the work we do, we have a reference point of minimum 10 years and ideally 25 years. Right? So anybody who says, oh, I am only looking at 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they don't need OD. They can do business the way they're doing and they're fine. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, so one element, critical element is time. Now, the other part of building organizations, and especially in this current era, it requires a lot of unlearning. And whatever we have known about management, many of those things we have to unlearn. And I like Gary Hamel, who says, we need to build organizations which are fit for humanity. So let's look at how the whole world of management has evolved. And of course, we will be quite provocative in what we say, but it started, most of the management started after the World War. And when you wanted all the factories and everything getting created, and the labor force was in the agriculture field. And you had to get the agriculture labor to come and work with the machines and produce stuff. So you needed human machines to work with mechanical or electrical or whatever machines to produce something. And that's the beginning of management. Unfortunately, it didn't change much. The machines have changed. Now, maybe instead of using a lathe machine, you are using a laptop, or you're using some other devices, you're using some hi-fi machines. But the basic principles of management, unfortunately, are still the same. You need human machines working with other machines to produce something. So if you look at, one of the sad things is we still call HR, human resource. Right? And you can change the label, that doesn't mean anything, but the whole point is that's a mindset that we have kind of inherited from the world of management. And that is not sufficient to build extraordinary organizations. So we have to be willing to unlearn many of those things. And then the game is, if you want to build a future for next 25 years, and all you have is your mastery of the past, the PhD of the past, that's not enough. That's good. You can't forget it. You should not forget it, but that's not enough. Because every industry that you are in or you will ever be in next 10 years, it's going to go through at least 3 disruptions, existential disruptions, where whatever it means to be in that industry, that itself is going to change. And it's already happening. I don't think we need to prove anything about that. So what we need to understand is our way of learning, which we have inherited from the education system, which is based on the past, leveraging the past, that way of learning is insufficient. Is important, but again, insufficient. We need to develop a new way of learning, which we call as learning from the future. Now, of course, we can say, oh, where is the future? How can we learn from the future? But there is something called learning from the future as it emerges. Now, there's a whole world of science behind it. But just as a reference point, that is one of the dimensions that Theory U by Dr. Otto Scharmer of MIT addresses, inside of many other things. So we leverage Theory U very highly in this program. There are other things that we leverage. We'll talk about them, right? But the very important for us to understand is whatever we know is insufficient. And whatever way we know how to learn, even that is insufficient. So not only what we know is insufficient, our methodology of learning is insufficient. We need to create a new methodology of learning. So that's another dimension for us to keep in mind. And I'm okay with if you make notes and kind of refer to it as we go ahead and then ask questions from that. That's perfectly fine. Okay. So now, if we look at what is OD in the way we define it, it's a very, very big subject. But the 5 pillars on which we look at OD, organization development, those 5 pillars are leadership transformation, culture transformation, strategy, execution, and talent management. I'll see if I have a slide which kind of just helps you remember that easily, but you can make a note of it also. And so I'll repeat, but in the meanwhile, let me see if yeah, okay, good, here. So
Onkar, just a question.
Yes, please.
This is Harish.
Yeah, Harish.
What's the difference between OB and OD then?
OD, see, I am not sure exactly because we don't really work on OB, okay? We work on OD, but what we are looking at is how do you actually build extraordinary organizations? And we address these 5 issues. Okay, leadership, culture, strategy, management.
All this
from my limited.
All this
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
happening to people only, right? So
No,
OB is OD then.
No, it's not about people only. That's the big difference. We have to get to another world beyond people. People are always important, no doubt, but there is a world beyond people. And that is what we want to talk about, is systems. So the OD field is built on systems thinking. So if you want to understand systems thinking, that of course, again, a huge subject, but first thing to understand is that everything is interconnected and nothing exists in vacuum. And the other thing to look at is most of the problems that we see in organization, whether they are inside the organization or external, but like in the marketplace or otherwise, most of them are symptoms. They're not the real issue. They are symptoms. And for us to understand the real issue, we need to look at 3 layers more. And the first layer to look at is, what are the structures which are causing these symptoms? So every organization has a lot of challenges, a lot of symptoms you can see. But then looking at what are the structures that we have which are causing these symptoms. And that is like the first layer that we need to get into. So if you, Harish, if you can let go of the divide between, or what is OB, what is OD, if you kind of put that aside and look at what exactly needs to be done here, right?
Onkar,
Point extraordinary organization. We are saying,
I'm trying to make is every statement, every process, everything is made by a set of people only, right? Where is the question of
yes.
Where is the question of eliminating people from your process? Where is the question?
No, it's not about eliminating. It is not about eliminating. It's
And where
about
is
understanding.
No, you're not. You're kind of trying to say something is kind of beyond people. No, that's not possible. Everything is limited to and aligned to people only. That's what I'm trying to make.
Okay.
So
yeah,
you fix the people, you fix everything else.
yeah. Now you all know all that, right, Harish? You know that. Okay, I can't add any more value there. So if you can stay with that, but keep it aside for some time and look at some other dimensions. This is not beyond people, but this is like some other dimensions which, of course, people are always going to be involved. But if you can put aside whatever you already know and see what else is there for us to see. Harish, are you willing to do that?
What else will be there? I'm just trying to kind of challenge you.
Yeah, but don't challenge me. No, what's the point of challenging me?
No.
There's no point of challenging me. See if you can listen, suspend what you already know, and see if you can discover new data.
Please don't look at challenge as a negative kind of a connotation.
No, I'm saying, see, in one of the things we learn in the program here is that the only proof of listening is when you can listen and discover new data.
Point I'm trying to make to you is...
Don't make a point, Harish. This is not the place to make a point.
All right. You've already
this is the place where to create some new points. Whatever points you already have, you already have. Nobody's going to take that away.
Can I?
Manoj and Harish, can I? Yeah, Vandana, go ahead.
Actually, I'm just sharing my personal experience, Harish, because I've already run the program, and it's beautiful what you will discover if you just hold on with some, patience. And because initially I also, being from the HR background for 5 years, I was also so passionate, and I was like, telling Manoj, no, people. But it's beautiful the way it's going to, uncover itself. So I'm just saying, hang on, he's like, it's beautiful, and I'm sharing it from my own experience. So.
Seema, go ahead. Thanks, Vandana.
Yeah, since I don't know much about the program, but fundamentally, since you are talking about OB and OD, since I have done a few OD interventions and I'm also doing a lot of work in behavioral sciences, the major difference is, though it is about people, in OD we try and set up systems which will then cater to people and how they change and how they work with the system. Whereas in OB, mostly what we are doing is we are looking at the behavioral sciences, because an organization has people from all walks of life, and their perspectives or behavior depends on their context. And that is where, as a whole, how the organization behaves is much different than how the organization can be developed. So that, I thought, was the fundamental difference.
Right, Seema. Thank you very much. Yes. That is also my understanding. Thank you. So if you look at what are the problems you see, whether you see inside the organization or outside, whether you're talking about the employees or whether you're talking about the culture, whether you're talking about the engagement, whether you're talking teamwork, collaboration, or you're talking outside like market share and how you're doing in terms of your new product development and profitability and everything, branding and everything, consider that most of the times what we see are symptoms. And then there are structures in the organizations and the structures in the industry which are causing those symptoms. So the way we are looking at OD is we are looking at training people to move from symptom thinking to systems thinking. And unfortunately, it's fixing symptoms is very easy and also very seducing. So you can spend your whole life fixing symptoms. But if you kind of pause and go deeper, look at, okay, what are the structures that are causing these symptoms? Oh, we have attrition. Okay, what are the structures which are causing that?
Onkar,
Oh, we have.
Onkar,
Yeah, Harish.
here again. Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like this phrase. Okay, systems thinking. I have a client who is doing very well. Okay, who is doing exceptionally well in the last year. And he says, I want to do the same way next year. But he fears what's going to be the customer input. How will the customer listen to me? Because he has no control on that. He has control on everything else internally. Sales people, whatever you want to kind of call it. How would you kind of link that system thinking into this piece? I just want to listen to your 2 cents about it.
Which industry is the customer?
Pharma.
The pharma industry, right? And they are doing well. And what is the ambition?
They want to sort of expand. Maybe if they are doing 10x, they want to do 20x. Everything is well, and they want to kind of get their customers to listen to them more often. How would kind of they do it?
Right. So let me respond how we train people in this. Right. So firstly, we are not looking at 1 year, 2 year game, right? And where we start? So in the program, where we start is we look at helping the customers re-evaluate the industry, see the industry from a fresh perspective. And so if you look at, you're going to an element which I would have covered later on, but let me address that. So what is needed to succeed in the market is, one is the strategy piece, right? And the job of the strategy is to make your company unique in the eyes of customers. Now, for you to create the right strategy, we'll go back to what I was saying. You need to see the industry newly. You need to see the customer's needs newly. Okay. And when companies come to us, they say, oh, we want to create a strategy, we want to create a vision. We say, okay, before that, we need to kind of create a new space, come to a blank space. And that is, put aside what we already know is useful, but put it aside for some time and discover the industry newly, discover the client challenges newly, discover the customer segments newly, and then create a strategy which is going to make you unique in the eyes of the customer. Because if we see ourselves as unique, that's useless, right? Our customers need to see us as unique. And for that, I don't think the game starts with getting the customer to listen to us. I think the game starts with we listening to the customers, we getting into the world of the customers, we being interested in the customers. And when we do that deeply, then we discover elements of how we can serve the customer better.
So now, is that OP or OD?
It doesn't matter for us. See, ultimately, all these labels are irrelevant. What is important is organizations, creating extraordinary organizations.
Now, that's where I was coming from.
Okay. I don't
Yes,
know. We never brought in the whole concept.
Experience. which I can share my recent experience, which might
Yes,
be able
please.
to differentiate.
But
I'll take
is there a need to differentiate?
maybe.
See, for us,
Maybe.
see, for us, we
Maybe.
work with CEOs, we work with the top management, and we help them to create extraordinary organizations. Okay, that's the whole game for us.
Manoj,
simple.
the whole purpose was what to kind of pick up from your experience to understand that clarity which I wanted to have. That's it.
Yeah, okay, but
I
my
don't want to
invitation
challenge
is
you on anything.
my invitation is give up the labels and just focus on ultimately what do the CEOs, owners, founders want.
Okay, super.
Right, because all labels are sometimes misleading. What's important is what does the CEO want when they look at a long term? What does the founder want when they look at a long term? What will it take to create an organization? Right, so it's an extraordinary organization. Okay, so that's how we look at it, and we have some parameters where we look at what we mean. But I'm going to pause here. Seema, you wanted to say something, so please go ahead, and then
No,
can
I
continue.
just wanted to share an experience which probably differentiates the two and why it is needed to differentiate. I was part of an assessment center from one of the big four consulting, and the interactions were a little, I was taken aback by interaction, because when we talk about big four, you expect it to have all the systems in place and everything in place, and having the big picture and big strategy and all that. But every conversation I had with somebody from there who was in charge of the center, they were on the defensive. And here, what I could clearly see was the behavior of all the people in the organization was defensive. And that is the culture that is built. To the extent that when I had given some rating with a comment, and the center in charge asked me, why are this rating and what is this comment? I said, this is what I observed and I have written down. If you want, you can check with the other assessor who was with me. The immediate response that came was, why are you being defensive? Now, they had shown the defensive behavior right through the center for almost a month, and then they're asking me why I'm being defensive, whereas I was just validating. Okay, so this is the behavior which clearly we need to understand, that gets built in an organization, which needs to be probably addressed or corrected, and which can be done through OD.
Okay, fair enough.
Let me, this is Harish again. Let me put it succinctly in terms of OD and OB, right? OD is all about bringing everybody onto the same plane. OB is all about bringing everybody into the same behavior. Simple.
Right. You're right there.
Great. Anything else, Harish?
Your show, Onkar.
No. Yeah, so what I was sharing is, so whatever we have discussed so far, I think that's fine. And I think I think my understanding is in similar lines in terms of OB would deal with behavior, and OD is a very big subject for me. But fundamentally, the accountability of OD is the kind of organization that you create. And and for me, it's a long-term successful organization, to say it in one line, right?
Right.
And whatever it takes for that, and then it takes a lot of things. So for us, we build the whole game of OD on these 5 pillars: transforming leadership, transforming culture, strategy, execution, and talent management. So if you look at let's look at each of these elements. So what do we mean by leadership? And I refer to my earlier comment is the game of leadership is to ensure that organization has a future and a bright future. Another way to say that is they take the organization into the bright future. And how do you do that? It is going to require letting go of the past. It's going to require kind of suspending all the success and all the things that have worked in the past, and to start to sense the future newly, start to sense the emerging future, start to sense the industry, start to sense how things are moving, and also get to see the world of the customers, because not only our industry is changing, our customers' industry is changing, our suppliers' industry is changing. So it's a really dynamic world. And the leader's job is to make sure that the organization goes into that future successfully. So sense the future and then alter our company's strategies, our action plans to suit that emerging future. And for that, the leader is not like a person who's going to do it, but it's more of leadership. So there is a difference between leader and leadership, and we're interested in leadership, which is also what we mean by collective leadership. Like everybody can provide leadership, should provide leadership, and can be supported to provide leadership. So not only some people in some designations have to sense the future, the whole organization has to get in that phase of sensing the future. Because the future doesn't emerge in the head office. It emerges in multiple locations. And mostly it emerges not even in the same industry. It will emerge at some cross section of multiple industries. So one is as a leader or as a leadership transformation, we are interested in systems thinking and we are interested in sensing the future. So, and that's what we use Theory U by Dr. Otto Scharmer to develop that understanding. And the other side is we use competitive strategy by Michael Porter and Roger L. Martin to develop a new understanding of the industry. Then we look at culture. What do we mean by culture? So here we are looking at two critical elements. Again, I'm trying to tell you what we do in 6 months in 60 minutes or so. So I'm going to be kind of giving broad strokes here. So first thing is, from a culture perspective, is shifting from ego thinking to eco thinking. And what we mean by ego here is boundaries, thinking within the boundaries. So when the management or the employees, anybody, when we are looking at boundary like me or my department or my company, that's ego thinking. That's thinking within the boundary. And then there is what we call as eco thinking, which is you broad base and you are inclusive of multiple stakeholders in the conversation. And the more stakeholders you are inclusive of, you're thoughtful of, you're bringing them in your presence, you're going to be more relevant in the industry, more relevant in the world. So how do you create a whole culture which shifts from me and mine and my department and stuff to actually being of service to the customers, being of service to the planet? How do you actually create that kind of an organization? And that is the culture that we're looking at. Addition to that is the whole outside-in perspective. Not only what we want, and not only looking at the world from our view, but looking at ourselves from the view of the customers, looking at ourselves from the eyes of the stakeholders. So that is a shift in the culture that we are looking at. Ego to eco, shift in ego thinking, egocentric thinking to ecocentric thinking, and shift to outside-in perspective. Yeah, Aljor, welcome.
Hello,
And
good evening,
also-
everybody. I'm
Good
Manoj.
evening.
Just a question.
Yeah.
What kind of new age thoughts are you using? Because for all you know, I may have a client who might use your thoughts on shifting customer thought processes.
We are not
exactly
into shifting customer thought processes. We are into shifting our thought processes to understand the world of the customers better.
It's the same, right? How would I kind of look at the customer is the same way. So what exactly is your methodology? If I could kind of pick up something, I could refer somebody to you. If you could kind of spell 2 or 3 minutes more on this piece, please. Thank you.
So there are tools that people learn which allow them to connect with the customers, connect with the stakeholders at a very profound level. And that is the methodology, which is part of Theory U. And there are multiple tools inside of that, which people use to connect profoundly with each other within the company and with other stakeholders. And the names of the tools, if you want, so it starts with something what we call as empathy walk, and another thing which we call as stakeholder interview. And it was all part of a set of practices connected with deep listening. Okay, so so those are the starting point, and then there are a set of things to look at. But basically, it starts with deep listening and sensing. Yeah. Harish, you got that? Hello?
You're disabled, so otherwise I would have given a thumbs up. Thank you.
I didn't disable anything. I don't know. I'm sorry if it didn't work. I have not disabled anything.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now the third element that we are looking at is strategy. And by the way, I know Harish has asked a lot of questions, but that should not stop others from asking questions, right? So please feel free to interact and ask questions. Everybody else, right? You are also invited to ask questions. So we're looking at strategy, and the way we look at strategy is that the job of the strategy, again, referring to what I said earlier, is to help our company to be unique in the eyes of customers. Now, for that, we have to look at the whole value chain. How are we creating something, either our product or the service or the experience, in a way, and the combination preferably, in a way that makes us unique. And there are many examples that you can look at, but there's a whole methodology of creating those things. And one of the tools that we use after our industry research phase is by Roger L. Martin. It's called, if you look at the book called Playing to Win, there is a concept of 5-choice framework. And so we train people in using that powerfully to actually articulate the strategy. And it takes a lot of efforts to do that. It's a long-term process, but the whole game is to look at how are you getting into the world of customers in a way that, and serving the needs of the customer in a way that that customer experiences us as unique. And also strategy is something like for us, the way we look at it is, it's like almost like you choose a religion. You can't keep changing every now and then. So there is again a long-term dimension of it. So when we are saying strategy, we are looking at it something which is long-term. And of course, there are actions will change inside of that, but the direction is definitely long-term. And there are certain strategic choices that a company has. And if another way to look at strategy would be, it's a set of interconnected choices. So you make certain choices, and then that is the kind of a direction that you go. So we need to be careful about making those choices, because we are choosing a direction. In a way, we are choosing a religion, and you want to stay with that. Nothing wrong with any other religion, but you got to stay with one and kind of be proficient in that. In the world of strategy, that's how we look at it. The fourth pillar of OD is execution. How do you make sure that everybody in the company has clarity on the strategy, and whatever they are doing is inside of strategy fulfillment, not that they are going in 5 different directions. And we use certain methodologies, starting with strategy mapping and the balance scorecard for the execution. And the way we club all this is where actually the sweet spot is. But the game of execution is everybody is doing only one thing, that is fulfilling the company's strategy and not getting distracted by many other things, including the kingdoms that get created when the departments are running on their own and not in a sync strategy. So that's the part of execution. And then we look at talent management, and how do you bring scientific talent management? And we say 50% of all organization problems start with wrong people in the wrong roles. So how do you make sure that you have the right people in the right roles, and not only keeping them in perspective today's needs, but also having a sense of what's emerging and how you're going to be agile for tomorrow. Okay. Now, each of these 5 pillars, there is like, again, there would be unlimited amount of work that one can do in that. But we bring all of these 5 pillars into in a well-designed methodology that you can learn and implement. And the best thing for us and for our participants has been they learn today and they can start implementing tomorrow. So the way we have designed the program is a 6-month program, and it has 1 weekend every month and 3 group coaching sessions every month. So you learn something new in the weekend, and you are already oriented around implementation, and then you have the whole month to implement what you have learned, and you get supported in that. And then the next phase, and so you're evolving, and in the 6 months, 6 weekends and 18 coaching sessions, you're actually bringing the change in the organization. And the kind of people that participate is, of course, entrepreneurs and CEOs, some of them with their core teams, or people who are from HR or consulting, those who are in consulting who want to get into OD, or they're already beginning in the field of OD, or who are in HR. We have like Vandana, so she is in HR for a long time, and now she wants to develop herself as an OD professional. Or we have somebody from some of the top big companies, and they are right now in HR or L&D, and they want to develop themselves as an OD professional. So we have businesses, we have small and medium-sized businesses, we have the professionals. So you can say that's the combination of people who participate with us. And this is a 6-month program. Okay, so let me pause here and let's see what questions you have and anything that you would like to know. Kanwar,
Sir, I
anything
would
for
like
you?
to ask,
Yeah, Shri,
you
go
were
ahead.
speaking about the symptoms. I believe you
Yes.
have covered only one, that is structure causing the symptoms. I would like to know the other two.
Then once you identify the structures that are causing the symptoms, then you look at what is the mental model that is there behind the structures that are designed. So every organization has designed certain structures, certain policies, certain processes, and there is a mental model behind that. Right? Yeah, Jen, I understand. It's quite late for you. Be in communication. You can get in touch with us on WhatsApp. Thank you. So once you understand the structures, then you look at what is the mental model behind the structures, and what is the thinking behind the structures. And so that is the next phase. Okay. And we'll not go into the fourth element right now in the conversation here, but we start from symptoms to structures and structures to the mental model behind it.
Okay.
Does that help you, Shri?
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Great. Yes. So, Dabas, welcome. So, Shiva, Leslie, Kanwar, anybody, any questions? Sima, anybody, any questions? Ramandeep, anything you want me to elaborate on? Okay. So either everything is clear or nothing is clear, right?
Can you, Manoj, this is Shiva here.
Yeah, Shiva.
Can you explain more on the 4th pillar, the execution, please? See,
Yes, sure.
we talked about transformation of the leadership, transformation of the culture, and
Right.
then creating the competitive strategy.
Yes.
Maybe I missed what you
Yeah.
created in execution.
So good. Thanks for asking that question. So see, once you create a strategy, then the whole job is that's not going to give you the result, right? The strategy in itself is not going to give you the result. What is going to get you the results is the execution of it, right? And thanks, Kanwar. And then we're looking at multiple dimensions here. Now, one is, of course, getting in that everybody in the organization is aligned to the strategy, and whatever they are focusing on, whatever they are working on, is in sync with the strategy. So that's one basic model, right? The other model to look at is there's a whole change in how organizations are designed now. Okay, and we look at, for example, there is no need to have a lot of staff to build big organizations. Right? You can actually build big organizations without having to have huge number of staff. And also, how do you leverage? So there's a whole concept that we work on, which is called exponential organizations. Okay. And how do you leverage? See, if you look at technology, many technologies are growing exponentially. Their price performance ratios are improving phenomenally, right? Maybe every year, every 2 years, like that. But unfortunately, what's happening is when we look at leadership, when we look at organizations, still our thinking is linear. And how do we shift this linear thinking into an exponential thinking? Okay, so there is a whole framework called exponential organization. This is by Salim Ismail and Peter Diamandis. And there's a lot of research that has happened in that. There are 11 principles that are there as a part of it. So in execution, we are looking at leveraging those elements along with the scorecard to create a methodology of accomplishing the strategy, but in a way that's appropriate for this new age organization. So for example, if you look at you are wanting to serve the visually challenged, right? That's one of your target customer segment, right? And I'm sure there are huge numbers of people across the country and then across the world, right? Now, how do you do that? What is the new kind of organization that you can build to accomplish that objective? And now there will be multiple permutation combinations that you can use. Is that helping you, Shiva?
Yes, very much. Please go ahead.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
listening keenly.
Yeah. And then there is this whole new whole perspective that we are encouraging people is to shift our thinking from an individual person who's building a company, like an entrepreneur building the company, to shift from that to actually thinking like a company. There's a difference between thinking as an entrepreneur versus thinking as a company. And then from that, you again want to add on multiple dimensions of thinking. Like, how do you think like a platform? How do you think like a community? And ultimately, how do you think like an ecosystem? So, see, the whole world of thinking as individuals is limited. And the whole world of thinking as a company is much better than thinking as an individual. But again, that gets limited. How do you build in the dimensions of thinking like a platform? So you understand what is a platform, Shiva?
No, I understand company, individual, but what is
Okay.
platform?
So platform is generally a framework where you are on one side, you have the users or the buyers, and the other side, you have the service providers. So a simple example would be an Amazon, right? It brings on one side the sellers and other side the buyers, right? So you're actually building a space. So instead of you doing all the transactions, you're building the whole space wherein while you are also doing, for example, if you look at your target audience, right? How do you get that this target audience needs a lot of things and maybe you're not going to provide all of them, right?
Obviously, right, yeah.
So how do you create a whole space where multiple like-minded or complementary products and services are available so that the people can come there? So instead of they coming to Bhashini for just one product, they're coming to a space where they're going to get many of their needs sorted out. Right? So that allows a different kind of expansion. And see, the whole point here is how do we get lot of people, lot of companies interested in partnering us in different forms of partnership. So that is, we are not kind of trying to succeed alone, but we are succeeding together. Does that make sense to you? Shiva? Sorry, Shiva, I can't hear you. I think you got frozen. Okay, everybody else, do you get this piece of platform? Leslie, does that
Yes.
make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So then there's the whole thing of community. How do you build community? Community of users, community of people who want to serve, and how do you activate the whole community in the game? Like if you look at many of these IT companies like GitHub and others, they're all built on community. So it's not just like the company, but it's more like the whole community gets involved, and like this whole open source model is connected with community. Right. So again, Shiva, coming back to you, right? There could be communities that can get involved, right? Communities of what do you call it? Visually challenged is one community, right? But then also their family members that could be part of the community. Some service provider. So you actually bring in groups. Like basically the whole concept is how do you get communities and crowd engaged in the business, right? And how do you serve them and get engaged into the whole story? That is a very different dimension of building organization. Yeah. And lastly is ecosystem. So if you look at most of the big industries, they don't work. It's not a competition of company versus company. It's an ecosystem. So if you look at Tata Motors versus a Maruti versus a Hyundai, these are not competition of companies. These are ecosystems that are built around it. So if you look at even in serving this audience, you could have a whole ecosystem that is designed around it. And that ecosystem is going to be expanding the game at least by 1,000 times than what Bhashini can play. So if you look at from Bhashini to platform, platform to community, community to ecosystem, the whole size of the game multiplies by 10x every time.
Right.
So if Bhashini can do 10 crores or 100 crores, right? Yeah, Ramandeep. Then when you think of a platform, you add 1 0 to it. When you think of a community, you add a 0 to it. When you think of an ecosystem, you add a 0 to it. It is that kind of a shift that happens. See, struggling alone, trying to make the business alone as a company is not the era anymore. Okay, the world has changed. We have to start looking at in this way in terms of the community, right? Platform, community, and system. Okay, Shiva, thank you very much for asking the question. It gives me an opportunity to elaborate on that. So that was
Thank
good.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much, Manoj.
Okay, anybody else? Leslie? Yeah, Gaurang, thanks for joining in. Seema, anything for you? Any questions for you? And Charlie?
No, Manoj. I got all the answers.
Okay, great, fantastic. Charlie, where are you from?
I think she's on mute, even if she's speaking.
Yeah. Yeah, Aljor, you want to say something? Aljor, by the way, is our partner in Philippines, and we've done some work in OD in Thailand and Philippines in partnership. Okay, Charlie, if you can just mention which city you are from, that would be great. But we got that. Oh, you're in New York. Okay, great. So this must be morning time for you, right?
10 o'clock. No,
10 o'clock.
11
Okay.
o'clock. 11 o'clock.
11. Okay. Right. So Aljor, anything you want to say? Or share?
No, I just wanted to welcome everybody for being in this conversation. Thank you for being here. Yeah, no, you're you're doing fine.
Yeah. So Aljor was with me in this Thailand intervention. It was actually his reference, and we worked together and we used all these things that we are talking about in a way. We implemented all of that there, and that is what caused the turnaround. And then, of course, many other companies. But yeah, and one of the things that we liked about their appreciation was they said, you didn't give us just the answers or what to do, but we also got the whole science and logic behind it. And that is what has made them strong. And even after 3 years, when they're kind of going strong, and not only going strong, they are now going and teaching that to everybody in their, and kind of being an industry leader in their way. Okay, so again, I think, yeah, so let me give some time for Sham and Vandana to say something. So whenever you guys are ready, if you want to share, why don't you share your key learnings or key shift in your thinking from the time you joined the program and now you've done almost 4 months. So what has been the big shift in your thinking, and how is it impacting your view of your role as an OD professional? You want to say something like that, in that direction? I'm not trying to limit what you want to say. I'm just giving you a starting point. You can go ahead and share whatever you would like. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Manoj. Yeah.
Welcome. Yeah.
So in my context, I've been working in the corporate world as well as the development sector thereafter, and then focused on alternate education. There was a certain path, certain set of beliefs, and a certain framework that had set in for about 26 years. And through the program, especially the key thing which we just spoke about, which Manoj referred to eco thinking. Fundamentally, yes, I think Harish was talking about it's all about people. Yes, it is about people, and who we are internally also matters. And in that context, it's been an eye-opener for me from a thinking standpoint, where we moved from ego to eco thinking. And second thing is the importance of building communities in the current day and age. Third, how what you are doing or what intervention you bring in for an organization or as an individual consultant, there's a set old pattern of thinking that exists, and how to go beyond. This is a phrase I'd like to come up with, Manoj, now is, can you think from a point where you finished all your thinking? That happens in terms of bringing in understanding, especially when working on strategy maps. Another area of interest has been listening, through which you discover new unconfirming data or disconfirming data. Along with that, listening also has helped to look at it at a deeper level in terms of understanding customer needs, especially from a point of looking at what are enabling, disabling factors in the context of a conversation. Second, besides listening, is something called first principle thinking. When we speak about industry analysis, we look at everything afresh. Can we put aside everything that we know about a current situation and look at it with a fresh perspective? So first principle thinking really helps in that sense. I only see this as a huge advantage for anybody who's looking at long-term investment in the context of working with an organization, trying to build an organization, creating impact, and also bringing about change in an ecosystem that they're thriving. But yeah, if you guys have anything specific that you would like to know, happy to chip in as well. And of course, I'll hand it over to Vandana now, and she'll share her perspectives as well.
Yeah, and Sham, you can just type in your number if anybody wants to contact you. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, Vandana, go ahead.
I'm just not repeating whatever Sham has said. Of
Yeah,
course, always
yeah.
with the learnings for sure. I think
Yes.
2, 3 key important learnings. What is the difference between leaders and leadership, and what it is to create a future-ready organization, and how do we go over and beyond symptoms to systems, and also this entire journey of creating ecosystem, say from organization to platform to, how do you build communities, how you do build an ecosystem, because whatever is relevant today might not be relevant tomorrow, and how ready are we to adapt to change. And the beauty of it is there are certain powerful tools, as Manoj mentioned, about empathy walk, stakeholder interviews, case clinic. There's 70, so he has given many tools, and these tools will remain constant over a period of time. And through that, how do you do organization building in the context that we are operating in? And the beautiful part of it is the entire strategy map and the interconnectedness, what he's talking. Because unless that is done, it's just theory. What I have particularly enjoyed in this program is these are not just the concepts or theory where you understand the fundamentals. The moment you understand, you are practicing it in the respective organization or with the peers that are there. And we have a community of like 28 people on this program, and we have a smaller core groups of 4, 5 people. So actually, we are there for each other and we are co-creating. And so it's very beautiful. And it's not something which, you think, oh, these are just concepts and can't be practiced. So that's it from my end. And that's what I'm particularly enjoying in the program, because these are concepts which can actually change if implemented in spirit. It can actually build organizations for a very, very long time. It's like
Great.
forcing future of 30 years now today, and how you can think about it. So it pushes you to think by asking right questions. And I think once we all start thinking, there's a beauty to it. So, and we are just pushing each other to think. Yeah, thank you. I can go on and on, but I'm going to pause and happy to answer anything if anybody has.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, so in the context of time, we're going to now look at wrapping up. And as I'll just kind of repeat the structure of the program for everybody, and also share. Vandana, if you want, you can share your contact details also if anybody wants to reach out to you. So as we mentioned, it's a 6-month intervention and 6 weekends. So 1 weekend every month and 3 coaching sessions of 2 hours each. Weekend is Saturday, Sunday, 9 hours each day. So total 18 hours per weekend and 6 weekends, right? So 6 months. So over and above that, you get all the support of the smaller groups. Plus, there is no limit if you need any. If you're dealing with something and you need additional support, all that is available. There is no time restriction. We are there to make sure that your company succeeds beyond your imagination. That's the whole focus. And the tuition for this course is 3 lakh rupees. If we do this OD consulting outside of the course, then the cost would be around 24 lakhs. Right, to start with. It can go from 24 lakhs to 1 CR, as some of you are aware. Right? But we are doing it to make sure that lots of people can have access to it, and hence the groups and the pricing. So it is 3 lakhs plus tax, and we are starting with the next batch on 11th of January. So we have a kickoff session tomorrow, and then the first weekend is 11th and 12th of January. So if you are looking to join in that, that's one option. And the second opportunity will be in April. So you are most welcome to reach out to us. If you want to join in this batch, then immediately you need to talk to us, maybe today, right now, or after the session. And if April also, it will be a good idea for you to commit right now and then start the pre-work, because there's a lot of, it's like the more work you put in, the more results you're going to take. Now, what do we recommend from a perspective of time investment? While not mandatory, we recommend you invest 1 hour a day into the future of your organization. Right? So it's not you're investing into the course, but you're investing into using the tools from the perspective of building the future of your organization. Right? So if you can do that 1 hour a day, that would be fantastic. And otherwise, the program structure is already there in front of you. Right? So any questions, anybody you have from the program structure perspective, you can ask, or any questions you have from whatever we have discussed till now. We can take a couple of minutes on that, and then we will wrap up. Shiva, anything for you?
No, thank you so much, Manoj. This was an eye-opener.
Yeah, welcome. We would really love to support you and your organization, given that you are doing something which will be of positive impact in the world. So you should get in touch with me separately, or Ram. You can get in touch. You call him AGR or you call him Ram?
AGR.
AGR. Earlier we used to call him AGR. Nowadays he says he wants to be called Ram. So you can
See,
talk
he's
to
also
him.
my PhD guide, so
Yeah.
it's a
So-
long time I used to call him AGR.
Right. Yeah. In Landmark, we used to call him AGR. And so with AGR right now, we are working with IIIT Dharwad.
Yeah, I know about it.
And Dharwad is also in the course, right? Working with that. Yeah. Okay. So we would love to support you. So be in touch with us. Okay. And Seema and anybody else, if you had Shri, Ramandeep, if you have any question, anything you would like to ask or say, most welcome. Okay, and I'm going to put in my number here before we wrap up. So you can connect with me on WhatsApp. Yeah. And Charlie and anybody else from outside of India, you have to add 91 to it. Right? So I'll write that one here. Okay. And also, when you received the calendar invite, there is a brochure link in that. So you might have already seen it. If not, you can send me a WhatsApp message and we'll send you the brochure on WhatsApp. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here and giving us an opportunity to share about our work. Thank you. Good night. Take care.
Thank you again.
Good night, everyone.